Welcome to Small Business Big Dreams, where every episode is a new journey into the world of entrepreneurs who are daring to dream big. In this corner of the internet, we're going to celebrate the innovation and the perseverance it takes to turn small ventures into booming successes. These small businesses aren't just places to shop, they're actually hubs of creativity and passion, each with its own amazing story. From the mom and pop shops to the innovative startups, we're going to explore it all. You'll meet the faces behind the brands, hear their stories, and maybe even get inspired to start your own venture. Whether you're a longtime local or new in town, come along with me for the ride and let's celebrate the backbone of our communities one small business at a time. Now let's dream big and spread some love for our local heroes. All right, well, welcome back to another week of Small Business Big Dreams. I'm your host, Eric Bull, and I am out in Antioch today, and I get to sit down with the very hyped, very known, well-referred. I think we've had a couple businesses tell me I need to talk to her on this podcast, but it is Angela. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
So not one, but two businesses, right?
Correct.
All right. Give us the elevator pitch. What are they and what do you do?
So I am the owner / manager of Little Bean Coffee Company and Little Bean Books. They are two different locations in Antioch. So we have a coffee shop and a bookstore.
Love it. Okay. So before we dive into those stories, what's your background? What were you doing before you had your two stores?
So directly before I took over the coffee shop, I was a bar and restaurant manager at a place in Arlington Heights. And then before that, I was a bar and restaurant manager at Rugen's in Antioch.
Okay.
And I helped them open the Burlington location. And I worked there for a couple of years. And then I worked at Café Book before it became Little Bean Coffee Company. I worked there for a couple of years as a barista.
Okay.
And then before that, I went to Purdue University for creative and professional writing.
Interesting.
I originally went for hospitality management, but
okay.
My freshman year, one of the professors said, if you want to work in hospitality, just work in hospitality. You don't need to get the degree. And I was like, well, then why am I spending this much money?
Yeah, seriously.
So I changed my major to creative writing, which is also something I want to do, which makes sense with the books.
Yeah.
So it's funny because now I kind of do both things.
Yeah. So how did you get in? Because the coffee shop was first, right?
Yes.
So how did that become your baby?
So I was a barista
Yep.
and stayed in contact with the previous owners. The previous owners of Café Book also owned Rugen's. So I'd worked for them, I think it was like 5 or 6 years. And then I left to go try something new, work at a new place. And they contacted me one day.
2 words, sounds like.
Words are hard. They contacted me one day and they were like, hey, we're interested in selling the coffee shop. But before we ask anybody else, we knew you have wanted one. Is there any interest in you taking it over? And it was an immediate yes for me. But I was like, let me figure it out. Let me see what I need to do. I was only 27 at the time, and that seemed like a crazy leap for somebody to take. And
just a little bit.
Yeah, and I was like, maybe I should think about this before I say yes.
And you were bar manager at the time when they called you about this? Is that what you were?
Yeah, I was a bar manager at a barbecue restaurant in Arlington Heights at the time.
Oh, which one?
Rack House.
Okay. Yeah.
So I used to work there.
Oh, cool. So let's get a timeline set. So when did that conversation start? Was it 20? What year?
It was 2018.
Okay.
It was probably in January or February of 2018. And
that
then
was when the first conversation happened.
Yeah,
okay.
with the previous owners. And then by May, I had taken it over.
Oh, that's pretty quick.
It was quick.
Wow. That was like a life 180, right? They're going from, to your own boss, though.
Yeah, and they were like, if you give us this for deposit, like X for deposit, and then pay us off incrementally, that's what we'll do.
There's a oh my God, I'm blanking. Seller finance business. Yeah. I think that's better anyway. Keep the banks out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God,
they
just make it messy.
And it was a simple transition at that point.
It's good. And then that's why I always talk about like networking is so great. It's like in keeping those connections because you never know, right? Like, and how long was it you were a barista before that? Was it like years had gone by and you just kind of stayed in contact?
I think I stopped working as a barista around 2016.
Also, it'd been a couple years.
Yeah,
okay.
and then, but I had worked at Rugen's, so I still worked for the family.
Oh,
I think I was only gone a year. Before they brought me back to Antioch.
Now in 2018, when you took over the coffee shop, did you change the name to Little Bean? Okay. Yeah. Oh, she's definitely shaking her head very heavily. Yes. For all the visual cues we're getting right now, is there a story behind that, or you just wanted to make it your own? What's the context there?
Legally, I needed to change the name because Cafe Book was an LLC. So if anything, I needed an LLC for the DBA. So I could have kept Cafe Book as the name as like Little Bean Coffee Company DBA Cafe Book. And we did do that for about a year before we changed the name. My plan, and this is how it worked out, which one of the only times my plan has worked out, was that I was going to keep Cafe Book as a name, keep it running, and then slowly make some changes. Okay. So I changed our coffee roaster. I changed the paint in the bathrooms. I changed things really slowly, and then we changed things very rapidly and did like a complete demolition.
Like rebrand and remodel.
Complete remodel. And then we came out with a new name, new menu, new whatever. The name Little Bean doesn't really come from anywhere. It was something that my cousin called me one day. I think she was 4 or 5 at the time. Aww. And she said, "You're a Little Bean." I said, "Who's a Little Bean?" And she said, "You." And I had been recording at the time. And so I have it on video, her little baby voice saying like, so "You're a Little Bean." And I was like, that's the name of the coffee shop. Like,
nailed it.
Yeah, perfect. Little Bean Coffee Company.
Yeah, seriously. And it works so well. Does she know it? Have you told her? Like,
she knows.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
She eats that up. Yeah. God, I love that. Yeah. It's so cute. So you like made this slow transition from, the rebranding and all that. What was the time frame from you taking over to when it became Little Bean?
My timeline is a little wonky in my head because it was
a lot of caffeine in there. Yeah.
A lot of caffeine. I think it was 2019 when we changed the name to Little Bean. And then it was February of 2020 when we like reopened. We had just done something else.
Did you just say February of 2020?
I did.
Oh God. Okay. We'll dive into that.
Because there's a, So
oh God.
Exactly. I'd done a bunch of changes in 2019 and we kept releasing it, but we didn't do a grand reopening. So people did know us as Little Bean at that point. We had a new menu. There were new things coming, but then we finally had all our ducks in a row. We finally had some things, a couple extra things we were going to announce. I don't remember. It might've been ice cream or something. I don't remember what the final thing was, but then it was February 2020. We did a huge grand reopening. And I had tweeted out to one of my previous professors, who just happens to be Roxanne Gay, who is an incredible author.
Very cool.
Like, amazing. And she retweeted it and, like, tweeted about Little Bean. So then it picked up a lot of steam, and I got a couple, like, I had written an article that was in Business Insider, and a couple other things had happened. And then it was February of 2020.
Yep.
So then the emergency brake got thrown off for everything.
That's crazy. We've had a couple businesses on here that have had very similar stories. They caught all their momentum February, March 2020, and then hit a brick wall, literally. You know, it's I want to dive into your like what happened there in a minute, but I want to do before we get there a little teaser. So you took over 2018. Went from, always working for somebody and now working for yourself. What were some of the biggest surprises? Like, I mean, obviously you had a lot of learning to do. It's just natural, right? Like, what were some things you just weren't expecting or some of the challenges you faced early on?
I had a lot of really good help early on. The manager who used to manage the coffee shop stayed on for a couple months. Nice. And then she got a different full-time job. So she went somewhere else. So she helped me a lot with the day-to-day transitions. But because I had been a barista in that cafe, I knew a lot of the day-to-day operations already.
Nice.
So that was key. And then a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff I kind of would ask people questions and figure it out. And some of it I'm still figuring out. Some of
Always.
it I'm still like, oh, I need to be doing this. Some things are hard because there's nobody to turn in the work to. I'm the person.
Yeah.
And so if I let myself down, I'm like, yeah, okay. There's nobody being like, where's this thing?
Right.
So that's a little hard sometimes that I don't have, because my brain is like, all of these things are important. All of these things need to happen. They all need to be due today, which isn't how it works. So I need to figure out that a little bit better sometimes. Yeah. So I'd say that was the main one.
How was it handling the I clock out, I get to go home to now work comes home with me? How is that transition for you?
Anybody who's met me will tell you that I do the most at all times. So I would bring my work home at other
all the time
jobs anyway. So that didn't really, especially with the restaurants, because of what I was doing. Mm-hmm. There were things that you just can't sit down and do while service is happening. It's hard to sit down and place orders because you have to help run food or you have to do this. And, the service comes first. So you want to make sure that all of your guests are getting great service. So I can send this email to the delivery guy later when I get home. So my work-life balance has not been great.
It sounds like it's still that way. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it comes with that entrepreneur life. Business owners. I mean, like you said, you're here if the store's busy, you're not getting any of that operational stuff done. And then even then, there's, taxes and paperwork and ordering more product and whatever. There's always something to be done. Always.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no matter how good we get at delegating, it's still your baby. You still, even if you're I'm just going to double check. I'm just going to look at, no, delegation, that the art of delegation is huge. Mm-hmm. All right. So let's get back 2020, February. You're like blowing up. You've got all of this. And as you said, the emergency brake hit.
Yeah.
What happened and how did you handle it?
Well, food service was different than retail. Yeah. And we had a hard stop. Like, you have to be closed on whatever day it was. Yeah. And I think we had less than 3 days, like, of notice.
Right.
And my staff and we were just like, we don't know what to do. And I didn't know what to tell them. I didn't know when we would be back to work. There weren't really any options about, like, to go ordering and stuff. We had to go ordering, but we didn't have.
How do you get it to them?
Right. And we didn't have the guidelines right away with things. So we closed. I think it was like we'll be closed for 2 weeks at first. Mm-hmm. And we offered, like, because we had a full cooler of ice cream and we had full fridges full of food and we didn't know what to do with it. So we would pack pints and people could buy like 2 pints for $1, like not $1, but 2 pints for $1 and 2 for $1 deal or whatever we were doing just to get stuff out of there. I sent my staff home with gallons of milk. I was like, here you go, like, take this home.
It's just, otherwise it's just gonna go bad.
Right. Yeah. And like some stuff was shelf stable and other stuff isn't. And the amount of bread that I took over to my brother's house, I was just like, here you go. And yeah, so it was really tough. And then it turned into, we were closed for a month.
Okay. Like closed, like a hard close.
Hard close.
Okay.
I pivoted to online sales and started shipping our beans out if people wanted beans.
Yeah.
We would post pictures because at the time we had some books at the coffee shop.
Okay.
And we had some other random knickknacks that we have. So I posted that stuff online.
Yeah,
and people were buying things that way. People were buying gift cards online and supporting us that way.
Okay.
And then we opened after a month with a walk-up window. So we turned our front door into it wasn't a sliding door, but just like a
half door.
Yeah, like a half door where people could just come up, say what they were looking for, and then we'd bring it out to them.
Okay.
So we were a walk-up window.
Hey, made it work. Because yeah, I felt like every city, county, state all had so many different rules, and I mean, it was an unprecedented time, right? I hate that word. We said it a billion times during that year and a half, 2 years, but like, so people were literally making shit up on the fly, right? And we've had a couple different in the food industry on this, and each town had totally different rules and timing on things, and then our good state government here, making up shit on the fly as well. So, walk-up window though, that's cool. And it's fortunate because your layout that worked. It's like depending on where you're at or what you're doing. When would you say it was back to normal for you?
I would say that it probably took until 2021.
Okay.
Because things would change often. At one point it was indoor dining was allowed, and then it wasn't allowed. At one point it was you could be inside, but only for like 15 minutes, and then you couldn't. And I still will find we have table signs that'll say like, please only sit here for 15 minutes like other things. And I would say probably till 2021, maybe even 2022, before we really felt like comfortable again inviting people to stay. And I still very much subscribe to the third place idea, and that coffee shops are a community 100% place, and that you come to sit with your friends and family and work and do homework and read and just sit and be, and you can stay. You don't have to leave as soon as you're done with your meal. And some people have been like, well, you need the turnover to be better if you want to increase your profits and whatever. And I'm like, but that's not what it's all about. And I like that the chess club emails me from the high school during the summer and says, hey, can we come play chess there? And I'm like, yeah, you can. Awesome. And they were just here today. And that's more important. That's very important to me also.
I want to pick on something you said, and not pick on it, but I want to call it out because it's not talked about a lot. The third space this is a great idea. So I want you to, can you tell us and like share with the audience like what you mean by that?
Yeah. So a third place is a place that's not home or work, that you can go and live your life and be around other people and comfortable and visit. Libraries are a great third place. Public pools would be a third place. Maybe not public pool because you have to pay to get in, but it's somewhere that you can go and just be, and you don't necessarily have to spend money. I mean, it is a business, nominal, so of course we want you to buy a treat or something, but you don't need to be spending money the whole time you're sitting there.
All right. And I think what has happened too is so we talk about like we go in 2019, people used to go out and like to the bars and the restaurants, and like I think people are looking more now for that third place more than ever because the work scene has changed, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of that third place psychological itch, let's call it was scratched by going to work. You're in the office, you're getting the cooler talk, lunch, happy hours. But so many of us still, me included, I work from home, and it's like when weekend comes or like even a Thursday night, and I'm like to my wife, like, I want to go out. I want to go do something. She's like, what's going on? I'm like, I haven't left the house.
Yeah.
I haven't had a human interaction. Yeah. Like, I just want to go hang out and be around humans, And I think there's this huge demand that's still not fulfilled of like just places to go where there's you don't feel obligated, like you said, a huge money spent. Like, like you can't even go to a baseball game anymore, like without spending a fortune. Like, great, I can go a $15 ticket and just go hang out. Like, nope, it's a whole ordeal now. It's $50 just to park.
Right.
And I think a lot too, where we see like breweries, another one is being really successful. It's like, great, I can go have a beer and sit and play board games all afternoon with my friends, and it's like, I'm not obligated to get that beer, but I'll be there, I'll have a beer. Coffee shops, and I think why we've seen the small town mom and pop coffee shops do better because you guys are embracing it so well. Like, you go to the Big Green Giant, I always call it.
Well, yeah, they're moving away from that actually.
away from
third place.
right.
Some of those bigger corporate chains are moving away from that because they want the grab and go. They want the turnaround.
They want you in and out.
They want you in and out. They don't want you to do homework.
Yeah.
We want you to come sit and do homework.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll bring my laptop. I'll sit. I want to get out of the house.
Yeah.
So third place, I think it's a great thing. People read into it, look into it, notice it within your life because it's a big thing. And I think you will feel better when you find your third place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Lost my train of thought before all that now because, oh, man, you killed my momentum.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding. No, don't be. I'm kidding. I think that third place was a great thing to bring up. And I'm shocked it hasn't come up before. But so you're 21, 22. It's kind of coming to be, normal. Where does the bookstore come into play?
Okay, so this is where it gets interesting.
Oh, boy.
It's been interesting the whole time, but
I was going to say, I thought it was pretty good already.
This is where I don't even know. We were approached in 2021 to open a kiosk in the Vernon Hills Mall.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's so like 2005.
We did it. It didn't work out because of reasons, and that's a whole other conversation. It didn't work out.
Hot take. Oh my God. Do you have a hot take?
Mall.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I think my hot take is just they are still doing construction.
Okay.
And it was supposed to be done years ago.
This is in 21?
21.
Okay,
Yeah. Nobody's going to the mall. Nobody's going to malls.
Still no one going to the mall.
No.
It's 24.
Right.
Yeah.
People are buying everything online, which is something we come up against in the bookstore.
Yep.
But so we did that, and I thought it was going to be great. I thought it was going to really work out. I believe in our product. I believe in our service, but people just weren't there.
Yeah.
And that was really unfortunate because we had to close it. Mm-hmm. Around the same time that I was approached to open Vernon Hills, I started thinking about expanding into a bookstore. We had always had books. Café Book, which is what Little Bean was before, had books, but it wasn't a lot. It was a couple shelves, not much.
Sellers, one-off.
Right.
Things.
It wasn't book selling. And I love independent bookstores. I love reading. I love everything about bookstores. And it just made sense to me that we would grow the coffee shop as a sister store with a bookstore. So I started looking around Antioch for a location, started putting feelers out with different people about wanting to expand, and was approached by my current landlord about...
Well, there's just some weird sounds going on outside.
Yeah.
I know you guys can't hear them, but it's weird.
That was an interesting... We're very close to the road. My current landlord approached me and said that she had a building that she was rehabbing. Would I be interested in part of the space? And it is a beautiful space, and I couldn't say no. So while I was opening Vernon Hills, I was planning a bookstore.
Okay.
And I had gone...
Just taking it all on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I had gone to a bookstore and saw a notebook that I think on the cover it said some kind of she gets it done or some kind of phrase like that my millennial heart loves, right? My whole staff will tell me it's cringy, but I'm like, I don't care.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. But I love it.
We get it.
So I bought it and looked at the person I was with, and I was like, I'm going to plan a bookstore using this notebook. And I did. And it's a blessing in disguise that Vernon Hills didn't work out because I wasn't going to be able to do both with the time requirements it takes. And yeah, so it was just kind of something that was in the back of my mind, and the opportunities just kind of opened when I was like, I'm going to do this. Antioch doesn't have a bookstore. I thought it needed one.
I'm shocked, by the way, that they don't.
I know.
Until you did yours.
Yeah.
I was really shocked by that.
And then we opened the bookstore in June of 2022.
2022. So, you just had your 2 years.
Yeah,
wow.
We had a whole Lord of the Rings themed Hobbit second birthday, second breakfast
Love
themed
that.
party.
That's so cool. And then just for my own clarification, your Vernon Hills adventure, was that the coffee? That was supposed to be
It was the coffee shop.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay. Got it. I thought so, but I just keeping it all straight in my own head.
I don't even keep it straight in my head, so no pressure.
So I knew, okay, so when I lost my train of thought, I knew where I wanted to go back to. So you were having like crazy momentum going into COVID.
Mm-hmm.
What, like, was there like a moment again after COVID where you felt like, great, now I'm back in the groove? Like, did something else happen where, like, you know, you were either at or better than where you were pre-COVID?
I would say that we're better now.
Okay.
Last summer, so summer of 2023,
Okay.
was, I think, the first time that I was like, okay, we're doing good. Like, this is
nice.
Great.
Yeah.
And then winter came, and winter is awful. And I was like, everything's bad. Seasonal depression sets in, and you're like, this is bad, but this is the bad place. Anyway.
So you really feel the seasonally, like...
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, yeah. We feel the season. And a lot of people are surprised that our summer is so much better than our winter. But I think that is true in a lot of the businesses in Aniak.
People just don't leave.
Yeah. And because we get a lot of people that visit in the summer because of the lakes.
Yeah. You get a lot of out-of-towners.
We get a lot of people from Chicago and closer to Chicago who come up here for the weekend.
Out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. I didn't think about it that way. Because for me, like, more so, like, I find myself personally in a coffee shop more in the winter. Like, I'm more of the grab and go in the summer because usually I'm going to do stuff.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Right.
Where, like, the winter, you're going to find me posted up at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
You know, it's 10 below and a foot of snow. Great. I'm going to grab the laptop and go hide in a coffee shop. But I guess from a volume standpoint, when you're looking at the overall numbers, yeah, I mean, you're missing all that summer traffic. I didn't think about that.
And weekends are still good in the winter. Weekends are still great. Like, we still get people who come in for breakfast and who come and sit and the weekends, but it's that summer, or it's that winter afternoon slump and I think this year was specifically, like, the weather this year was just crazy, and it was like cold and snowy and then just cold, and I think nobody wanted to leave their house.
Well, and then it was like 70 degrees in March, and then like ice cold
then
again.
Then it was snowing again.
It was yeah. I actually, like, I think we had a legit conversation in early April into March to open our pool. Mm-hmm. Like, well, I guess spring's here. Like, and then it got cold again for like a month. It was like, oh God, we dodged that bullet.
Yeah.
And then we still ended up opening it earlier than we ever have, and then sat and waited. But
sure.
where do I want to go? So is there someone who you would have called like a mentor, or someone who gave you just like that one single piece of advice that was just like you have held on to as now running your own business? No, I learned everything the hard way.
Yeah. I don't know that I have like one specific piece of advice. I do have a few people that I go to when I have some various issues. I have a couple people that if I'm feeling a certain way about a thing or a problem, that I will ask them for advice, or I'll just send a text and be like, can I just vent for a quick second?
Sometimes that's all it is.
You know, there's a really good community of business owners in the town. And then I have some good book selling friends, so I'm able to go to them for book selling things. And then I have a couple people who are business owners that have reached out and have said, like, if you need any help, let me know. And I take them up on that. There's someone that I sit and have coffee with every couple of weeks. Nice. And kind of just bounce ideas off of. And he's really helpful with that. I don't know that I have like one piece of advice that somebody gave me. Besides, nobody's going to care as much as you do.
That's a good one.
And you can still, and my employees are great. I have great staff and they all care, but nobody cares as much as I do.
Never will. Mm-mm. Yeah. Yeah. I think I think it's come up here on once before, but I think that is so heavily true because there's so many business owners that have a hard time. So on the side, like we were talking about this before we started recording. Like I talk to businesses a lot about the talent and hiring and how to hire, and you'll never get 100% out of somebody. It's not their business. They check out at 5:00, they're done, right? Business normally doesn't come home with them, but they're just never going to be bought in like you are. And it's just like, and some entrepreneurs just can't grasp that.
Yeah. And I have great management at the coffee shop, and I had a great manager at the bookstore who just left because she's going to school. I've had past employees that I'm really proud of their career trajectory.
2 words sounds like.
Whoa. That's a hard word. Sound it out. How many syllables in that one? And I have great staff and people who do care and want to make it a great space and are very helpful with that also. And another thing I learned about that phrase is it's good and bad, because also some customers aren't going to care that way. Like,
or at all.
Let it go. It's okay. Yeah. Not like you don't need to be this upset about something that is maybe not a big deal to this person.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's one of those, like, in a good way and in a bad way. Like, it's okay.
It depends on the situation and how you want to plug that in there.
Right.
So we all have 20/20 hindsight. We're going to take out the table we're sitting here, I guess. So 20/20 hindsight, right? Something you would have done differently.
I don't know, like, overall or specifically COVID. Okay.
No, so, overall, just from when you took over or whatever, anything you would have just, we all have little things, right? But was there something that, like, just really, like, that thorn, you just like, wish I'd have done it differently?
Oh, there's so many things. But then I think a lot of things have failed upward, and because it went wrong, something else went right, or because it went wrong, then the next thing was able to go right because we learned from that mistake.
Would you share an example?
Yeah, I'm trying to think
okay.
of one specifically. I think that's more just like interactions and like hiring and like specific people based things. Like, maybe this interaction didn't go so well, so I'll learn from the next one. I think something that I wish I would have done a little bit differently is set myself up with a more consistent schedule of, on Mondays I do this, on Tuesdays I do that. And I had it pre-COVID, and then everything went out the window. And then I started doing so many different things and taking on so many different things. I said yes too many times at some points. So now saying no is one thing that I'm trying to do. We had a pop-up shop in McHenry at the Riverwalk Shops last summer.
Okay.
And it was great, and we learned a lot. And they asked if we wanted to come back, and I just said, I don't think I can do it again with the way that the businesses are set up currently. So let me go take a break. Let me take maybe a year, and then maybe I can come back next year with a new setup, because the businesses are working, but I'm having to make so many of the decisions that I need another decision maker. And so I would say probably that, saying yes when I should get some other things organized first.
So if you don't mind me asking, so you said a decision maker so you can take on some of this. Is it more like you're looking for like a general manager overseeing like kind of both the businesses that they can kind of take on stuff off of your plate, or like somebody solely in that individual business that, like, again, like they run the coffee shop, somebody runs the bookstore, and then you can get out of the business and how's the saying go? Don't be in the business, run the business. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're trying to say, and now I can't think of it
Yeah,
either.
there, it's like,
and
it's right there on the tip of my tongue.
Don't work in the business, work on the business.
Yes.
That is exactly what I want to do.
Okay.
I want to have, and I do have I have 2 managers at the coffee shop, and we're getting that all figured out with who is in charge of what and how we can do these things. Even little tiny things like, hey, we're out of ice. I'm like, okay, go grab ice.
Yeah.
Go to the store. Things like that when they come up is like, there needs to be somebody else who it goes to before it gets to me.
Yeah, that like shouldn't have even come to you. It should already be taken care of.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what we're learning, or what I'm learning. I wish I would have learned that a little bit earlier to get that figured out. But we've had, with the COVID hard stop, I didn't know how sales were going to be. So I didn't want to hire people and not know.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's been that kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah. Like almost like you get a little scared again, right?
Yeah,
like,
right.
Like there's always a risk element, but you almost get scared to take risks all over again coming out of that. Yeah.
So that is what I'm working towards, having somebody who's kind of running the coffee shop, having somebody run the bookstore, and then me being kind of the overseer of
making the bigger
both
decisions,
bigger decisions, taking care of the big problems, or not even problems, the big things.
Yeah.
And when I opened the coffee shop, I had a lot of coffee knowledge, and I knew how to run a coffee shop. I knew how to work in restaurants.
Yeah.
When I opened the bookstore, I knew how to run retail, but I didn't know how to run a bookstore.
Okay.
So we're 2 years in, and I'm still learning some bookstore stuff. Yeah. So that's a whole learning curve too. What
was something within the bookstore world that like was a surprise to you running this type of business?
There's a lot with book selling that I think people don't even know.
Yeah, I'm trying to like that.
So
that's
like,
where like I'm hungry. Like
yeah,
I'm like you just pick some books and the ones that sell, right?
I
like,
wish.
Yeah, right.
Like I wish it was that easy. and a lot of it is that easy. But like we get advanced reader copies from publishers, so we get copies of books before they're even published, and we can write reviews on them. And if we write the review, it can get published. And like, that was really cool to learn that. That's like
super cool.
A lot of publishers really love hearing from indie booksellers, which is great. I learned about all of the different associations that booksellers are able to join, and then have all of these resources and are able to go to conferences and meet other booksellers. Cool. And coffee doesn't have that. Coffee has like Coffee Fest.
Expo, yeah,
right? Coffee Expo,
try this
and like
bean,
like
smell this coffee,
exactly, and like it's like the restaurant, big one that's in Chicago every year. I can't think of what it's called, where it's cool and there's some teaching, but it's not the same people. It's not the same thing. Yeah. It's very much like show floor. Yeah, and bookselling has a whole backdoor associations or behind the scenes where like you can learn so much more just from other booksellers. And I've learned incredible amounts of information, how to run events, what to do, how to bring people in, just from talking to other booksellers.
Love that. That is, I mean, I'm surprised because like for me, like it was like, great. I'm glad I don't run a bookstore, because I was just like, yeah, these books look like they would sell. Yeah, let's try that.
Yeah.
You know, like,
yeah. And it's happened to us a couple of times where ones that we think are going to do really well because it's a popular author or it's a subject that people are talking about, and we bring it in and it
just sits. Yeah.
Which
I find so interesting because I find the retail world in general interesting. So I have my like different lifetime. I was heavy in retail. I worked for Best Buy for a long time in different levels and cell phone world and all this. And it's like, and then my mom had a retail front, but like figuring out what people are going to buy, like more often than not, I felt like we were wrong. Mm-hmm. Like there was like, oh, this is such a cool little knickknack. And then like we get a bunch of them and like nothing would sell. Then we'd like, our vendor would be like, here's some for free. Try these, see what happens. And they would fly off the shelf. I'm like, that was dumb. Why do people buy those?
I
And
know.
it's like,
That's the amount of stickers that we sell. This might be my thing though, because I love them and I bring them in all the time. So we're constantly getting new stickers.
Yeah.
We sell a lot of stickers. They're so popular. They're so easy and they're great. And people love them. Everybody buys stickers.
What's the association with books and stickers?
I don't know, but it's there.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
It's 100% a thing.
Absolutely.
Where do you put your stickers?
I have them all over water bottles and like the big straw cups.
The Stanley things.
I don't have Stanleys,
similar?
but like, yeah, the similar like ones that are like, because our largest size at the coffee shop is 20 ounces and that's not enough for me. So I have like the 32 ounce like cup
gulp
that I walk in and I'm like, iced coffee please, and they fill it up for me and then I leave, because I'm not always working there, because if I was at the pop-up shop or if I'm here or whatever, if I'm just sitting at the coffee shop, then I just pour myself coffee, which is great. Yeah.
So I got 2 questions.
Sure.
How do you take your coffee, and what's your favorite genre of book?
Okay. Those are 2 of my favorite interview questions that I ask everybody that I interview.
Really?
Yeah, and then I have another one that I'll ask you.
Okay.
So my coffee is a twofold answer, because there's the one I drink every day, and then there are my like
your
treats.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just drink my coffee with a little bit of half and half.
Okay.
I used to drink it black, and then I was like, why am I doing this?
Because it's delicious.
I mean, it is delicious and I love it so much, but just a little bit of cream just to change the color. And so I drink that hot or iced. Doesn't matter. And that's just normally what I get. If I'm going to a cafe that I've never been to for the first time, I'll usually try some kind of latte. So usually like an oat milk and vanilla latte or oat milk and lavender latte or something like that. One of my favorite ones that we have at the coffee shop is the honey oat latte, which is honey, vanilla, and oat milk. Delicious.
Interesting. Okay.
We brought it on for a special event that we had done, and it was like, we called it like the Winnie the Pooh latte or something.
Oh, okay.
And then it stuck, and the name changed because we had put it on the specials menu, but that is one of our...
That's a great combo, though.
And it's such a popular drink. So popular. And then my like favorite that I only let myself drink very rarely because it hurts my tummy after a while, because I drink a 32 ounce.
Oh my God.
It. No, just kidding. I only get a large. But it's a dirty chai. So yeah. We used to have apple chai, which was my favorite, but they discontinued it. So now I just
hate when that happens.
I know, and I was like, I would have bought it all. I would have, because my customers would have drank it. But fine. So we make our own, but a chai with espresso and caramel.
Love it. Mm-hmm. And then
favorite genre. My 2 genres are romance and fantasy.
Okay.
Those are my favorites.
Blended or like separate?
I like some of the blended ones.
Okay.
But I like a cute romance rom-com situation, or like fantasy with maybe a romance subplot in there.
I guess there is a lot of times.
Yeah. But I really like fantasy and romance.
Very cool.
Those are my 2 genres I read a lot of.
And then you said, so those are 2 typical interview questions. You said you have a third one with...
Yeah, so the one that I ask everybody that we interview is, what's your perfect sandwich?
Oh, boy.
It can be breakfast or lunch sandwich, but build me your perfect sandwich.
Oh, this is... So I'm a breakfast lover.
Sure.
So like breakfast for dinner is like God to me. Like
I agree.
all the time.
I agree.
So I'm definitely going to go the breakfast sandwich route. So I'm going to do an everything bagel with a very heavy chai cream cheese.
Okay.
An egg patty almost. Like a scrambled egg, like just thick egg patty on there.
Yeah.
With 2 of the thickest strips of bacon you've ever had.
Sure.
And then like I like if I can get my hands on a good steak tomato, thick sliced steak tomato.
Yep.
And then a little bit of avocado. Not a lot, just a little bit. Like,
yeah.
I like avocado, but just need just a little bit in there. And then all day I could eat that.
Yeah,
all
that
day,
sounds delicious.
Yeah, all day.
And usually after an interview, I'm like, I'm hungry. Why am I hungry now?
I'm also so I used to be a coffee fiend to the point where like troubling. Like I think 20 some ounces 2 to 3 times a day, cold brew.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see where.
Yeah, so I had to like cut it down. So
Sure.
I like so the fact like I'm having a second one today is like so I had my first one in the morning. I always do of 20 some ounces of cold brew. And,
Sure.
and then I got a little one.
Yeah,
little
you
bean
just
on my
got
way
a
over
small
here.
one.
Yeah.
It's
Well, it's
fine.
5 o'clock, so I had to like. Really, it's not going to keep me up. But
Fair enough.
I lie about that. I'm like, oh, it's after 5. I got to keep small. You know.
Yeah.
I can
same.
go to bed right now.
Me too. Me too. Always.
But everyone gives me crap because it could be like 20 below and then like -50 with wind chill, and I'm still gonna get a cold brew.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't care. I'm cold all the way in and out. I can't drink hot coffee, or I'm like waiting until it's like room temperature.
I think it's a time of day thing for me. Like if I'm grabbing coffee in the morning, I want it to be hot.
Okay.
If I'm grabbing it in the afternoon, I want it to be iced. If I'm going somewhere, I want to take an iced coffee with me. I don't necessarily want to take a hot coffee.
It's like that mood in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's because like my big cups, if I put hot coffee in it, it stays like scorching hot for too long. And then I'm like, well, now I can't drink it until 2 p.m. And then what's the point? So just start iced and it's good the whole time.
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm on board with that. Like somebody actually like bought me an Ember, and I'm like, you don't know me. Like you don't like keeping my hot coffee hot. Like yeah, no. Thanks. I'm like, oh, is that? I think it was a wedding gift. I'm like, this wasn't on our registry. Like, why where'd you get this idea?
Just stay on the registry. You make a list for a reason.
Yeah, like
or
I know.
cash.
So caveat to that, our registry was very, very small. So we just got married last year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But we'd lived together for 6 years at this point.
Sure.
So we had a lot of things. We didn't need a toaster and a blender and all this.
Yeah.
So like our registry was really small.
Fair.
So some people like if they didn't want to do the like donate to the honeymoon fund, like I think people just, like, well, I'm not going to buy you $500 of silverware, so I guess I'll find you something else, But anyway, we have totally digressed. Let's bring it back in. So, we now know your favorite book genre.
Yep.
We know how you like your coffee. I want to talk about a little bit. So you kind of dabbled at like these pop-up events and stuff like that. So I've seen you at Harbor.
Yeah.
So is that like, is Harbor like you are there all the time? Are these all kinds of type events? Are you all over? And explain to the audience that has no idea what I'm talking about, what those are.
Yeah. So one of the things that we decided also with not going back to McHenry this year was that it was mostly my decision. And the event committee was just like, okay, I had decided that we were going to expand our events. So we've gotten more into author events. So we hosted Catherine Center. She's a romance author at Harbor Brewing.
Very
and
cool.
We sold tickets for that. And if you bought a ticket, you got the book, and you get the book signed, and you got to talk to the author, and it was incredible.
Love that.
That was so much fun. And then we also do boozy book fairs at Harbor Brewing pretty often.
You had me at boozy.
And it's so much fun. It's an adult book fair, essentially. Yeah. I mean, kids are more than welcome to come because kids
very
are
family
welcome
friendly place there.
Harbor, and I love the people at Harbor. We love doing events with them.
Absolutely.
They're great, and we just bring books, set it up, and people come and shop with us at the brewery.
I love that.
It's so much fun.
If any of my regular listeners have been paying attention to how many of my business friends I've had on this podcast that are being connected through Harbor Brewing, it is ridiculous. So there's good things that come out of hanging out at breweries. So
it's true.
My third place.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It is your third place. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great venue. We talk about them a lot on here, but they do a great job of hosting events, supporting small business.
And their barrel room is beautiful.
It's absolutely beautiful. So you're looking anything from a wedding to a book. That was a cool book. I didn't know the author one. I missed that one.
Yeah.
Do they do a book reading? Do they still like read part of the book? Is that like a thing still?
She did read part of the book, and I had gotten the ARC, so I read the book before we did the event and made bookmarks for everybody who was coming to the event. And I pulled a quote from the book and put it on the bookmark, and that was the scene that she read. And afterwards, I was like, "Did you know that? Like, were you always going to read that scene?" She was like, "Yeah." I was like, "How did I know that?"
That's so cool.
I'm magic.
And there's the sci-fi part for you.
Yeah.
Or fantasy.
That's the fantasy part of it.
So now we're in 2024. You've got the bookstores rocking, the coffee shops rocking. What's next? Like where do you want to be next?
I think about this a lot because scaling is not easy, and we've learned that because last summer it was crazy busy, and it was the best summer we've had, and then some things happened that kind of changed, and I was like, I don't think we scaled as fast as we should have to keep it going. There were also some internal changes with staff and some other things that had happened that made some transitions difficult, which happens.
Yeah.
And I think I'm thinking about what we want to do, so that how do I do the work now so that the transitions are easier when we decide.
When we get there. Yeah.
There's a couple options. I'm thinking about going back to McHenry Riverwalk in a year or two, or however many. We want to expand our events, and the other thing is we're slowly expanding our hours at the coffee shop. Yeah. So that's also an option, just expanding our hours and kind of our reach with what we're doing.
I want to. You brought it up a couple times. What's this like cloud of the McHenry Riverwalk? Like, is it like be almost like a permanent, like semi-permanent thing all summer, or how is that separate than what you're doing at Harbor? Is it just a different model, or what's the hiccup there?
So at Harbor, they're more one-off events. Okay. So we've done them pretty frequently, so it's less than a one-off, but more than like whatever. We're doing one in September at Harbor. Yeah. For the McHenry Riverwalk shops, they're these tiny shops. They're little. I don't remember how big ours was. And you're there for the whole season. You're there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every weekend.
Oh, that's pretty, semi-permanent kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a lot. But it's great. And it's an incubator program. So the whole thing is then you're testing the market to see if you want to open a shop. So we are thinking about that.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm shocked. I'm not familiar with that. Now I want to look into. I love that like incubator type style.
They're really cool. I could show you more about that.
Yeah, let's talk offline about that.
Yeah,
because I actually probably even know some people that would actually be interested in. They're on the fence of going like brick and mortar, and I think that's a great way to kind of get your feet wet.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
And I shout out to McHenry, the things they've been doing with their downtown area of just. Even so I used to live technically Lakemore.
Sure.
Yeah, Lakemore, but it was almost McHenry. Anyway, I'm like just watching that whole downtown area transition, the restaurants coming in, the shops. So, shout out to them. They're doing good. I'm going to put you on the spot, and I want you to sales us. A little sales hat on right now.
Okay.
So, just lots of coffee shops, right?
Yeah.
So why should we go to Little Bean?
Well, I think our product is incredible. We have great coffee. I really looked for the best roaster to work with in terms of flavor, offerings, and how it reacted with Antioch water. It's one thing to go to a coffee shop in Milwaukee or Chicago and try the coffee there. It's another thing to make it here and taste it here, because our water is going to be different than Milwaukee and Chicago.
It makes that much of an impact.
Oh yeah.
Wow, I never even thought of that.
Coffee is so fickle and precise. Even if the sun is shining too much on your beans, it can change the flavor profiles. Yeah. Coffee is,
I had no idea it was that finicky.
It is. And like one of the trainers that I've taken a class with before will be like, so if the coffee's starting to act up, you just need to change it a little bit. Like it gets like,
Be gentle.
yeah,
Small changes.
it gets crazy like that, which it does. And the difference between like a shot poured sometimes, and it's wild.
That's crazy. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Another one of those, like, you have no idea the intricacies.
I know,
like, oh God.
I tell people all the time, I'm like, if you want to nerd out about coffee or books, like, talk to me. There's so much knowledge in my brain. I don't even know.
We should do just
anymore.
like a coffee episode, because I love coffee, but I clearly feel like I don't know anything about it.
I have told a couple people that I want to do like a class at the store about like home brewing and stuff like that. So like, absolutely. Let's do it.
I'll be the first one to sign up.
Great.
Promise.
But back to the pitch. We really put a lot of care in the drinks on our menu and the things on our specials. We don't just throw things together and throw it on there. We taste it, we run it, we try it. We make sure that it's good. Same with our food. We make everything to order, except for bakery. Everything is made to order. Everything is made with love and care. And we try really hard to make sure that things are coming out perfectly and are delicious.
Love it.
And we just want you to come spend time with us and hang out. And I think that our customer service, I try really hard to enforce to baristas and to the managers that people aren't coming to a coffee shop to be bummed out. And you don't know what is going on in people's days.
Amen.
And your smile might change their whole day. So just spread a little bit more kindness and joy in the world, and just give, like, with coffee. That's not that difficult to do, but it could really turn somebody's day around.
100%.
And that's, yeah, we really
love that. I want to, like, you guys, if you haven't been to Little Bean, you got to get out there. She has so much space in there. It's a great place to hang out. Bring your laptop, get a coffee, ice cream.
Oh, the ice cream is so good.
Ice cream. I'm actually probably going to get some on my way out of here.
Yeah,
not
we're
gonna
still
lie.
open.
Let's talk about a little bit. I want to, the food menu, like, which I would say most coffee shops is a thing they're lacking or don't do well.
Sure.
And I say, and you guys do. You have a very robust menu for a coffee shop, and it's very good. What's like one or two of your favorite things on the menu? Or like a must try, like if I'm there for the first time.
Okay, so I'm going to cheat the system a little bit.
Oh, here we go already.
I know. I have that thing where people are like, what's your favorite? And I'm like, well, here are 5 options.
You just listed the whole menu.
Yeah, you just said the whole thing. I love our breakfast sandwiches.
Yes.
Anything on an Asiago bagel is so good. Right now we have a special for the summer. I think it's called the Hangover Helper.
I love the name.
And it's an Asiago bagel with Mike's Hot Honey, Gouda cheese, and an egg. And then you can add bacon. My dad added a tomato.
Yes.
And he was like, that was so good. And I was like, yeah.
I hope you're all hungry now.
And then, so that's really good. Our breakfast burritos are good. I love them. And we make the potatoes in-house. We make all of our sauces in-house. We do a lot of prep for a coffee shop. Like, you'd be like, why are you doing this? It's because one of the people who helped me write the menu is a trained chef. So she did a lot of helping me do that and developing the menu and how to make these items work during service. So I love our breakfast burritos. The potatoes are just so good. And then for lunch sandwiches, probably our chicken salad is one of my favorites.
Okay.
We make that in-house also. And then the other one is the Southwest turkey sandwich is one of my favorites.
I think I've had that. I haven't done the salad. I'm going to give you a hot take right now.
Sure.
So breakfast burritos is one of like my favorite snacks in the world.
Sure.
One of like top 3 for sure. And I'd never had a breakfast burrito that hadn't been frozen and microwaved until I moved to Texas. And
Sure.
I moved down to Texas for like 6 years. and I came back after however many years. I came back, moved back here, and I couldn't find a breakfast burrito for the love of me. And then I think it was last year. No, it had been even maybe this year. I had your breakfast burrito, and it was so freaking good.
Good.
I was like, I'd like ask my wife. She's like, "Shut up about breakfast burritos," and I was like, you can't go anywhere. Like, I can't find one, and it's like I've actually drove like to Waukegan, and I went down like the little Mexican taco shop. Do you do a breakfast burrito? No. Like what is like? No one uses like a tortilla and egg around here.
Right.
Like, come on, you know. Like, and then I had yours. No, it was early. It was definitely early this year, and I was like, oh my, why have I been waiting? Why have I been waiting?
Yeah.
Clutch. I am #, bold, underline, italicized, the breakfast burrito.
Oh, thank you so much. They are so good. And I don't eat our menu items a lot because I'm running around like a crazy person most of the time and don't have the foresight to be like, hey, can you make me a breakfast burrito? But my staff feeds me and they'll just be like, have you eaten today? And I'm like, and they're like, I will make you something.
I'm on my third coffee. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm fine. But when I'm able to eat a breakfast burrito and sit there and enjoy it, it's just so good. And then the last thing, this is my caveat where I was like, maybe I'm cheating by also saying this. If you come on a Saturday morning, get a scone.
Really?
We only get scones on Saturday mornings. My mom makes all of the scones. So she brings them in fresh on Saturdays. And a lot of the time, they don't make it until Saturday afternoon.
No way. That's awesome.
She tries new flavors all the time. She loves making them. And people have said, like, do you want to have these all the time? And I like that we only have them on Saturday mornings because they're kind of like the thing. Right. Like, you got to go to Little Bean on Saturday mornings to get a scone.
Yeah, I love that.
Or you might not get one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of like just the, I like the little demand created there, It's like, but it's kind of like growing up. Oh, we talked about this on, actually, I was on somebody else's podcast. The Krispy Kreme effect. So growing up, like Krispy Kreme was like a treat because it was like the closest one to us was like really, really far away.
Sure.
And then like somebody had them. It was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then Krispy Kreme, like, oh my God, we need to like spread everywhere. And then it was like, well, now I can get a Krispy Kreme anytime I want. Now I don't want one, And like, I'll get one eventually, I
remember Krispy Kreme when you would drive by and the light was on, that it was hot.
Fresh, yeah.
And it was like, Mom, please. I don't even like donuts that much. And I'd be like, Mom, please, can we please get a Krispy Kreme? But like, that's kind of how it is.
Let's say someone listening was thinking about opening up their own coffee shop or their own bookstore. What piece of advice would you give them?
For both things, know your product, know what you want to sell. Bookstores are so important, and I think we need more of them personally. I think that we need to take back what the bad place stole from us. And there's not many things that are like walking into a bookstore and being able to talk to somebody who also loves books about books and sharing that with other people. And it's great. If you're going to open a bookstore, know it's not going to be easy. You're going to get a lot of people who come in and say, well, I can just get this cheaper on the place.
Yeah. The dark place.
Yep. I call it the bad place. Place. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to get that feedback from your community. Yeah. But other times you get people who are driving specifically to support you. And it's great. So just know, I guess, what you want to focus on. Are you going to do children's books and all ages? Are you going to do nonfiction? Are you going to do romance? Are you going to do, and then go from there. With coffee, same but different. Know what you want to offer and get really good at it. So are you going to do food and coffee? Are you just going to do coffee and espresso drinks? Are you going to have cold brew? Are you going to have, what are you going to have? And learn the difference and do your research about what makes the best cup of coffee and how they're different. Because it's a minuscule difference between a cappuccino and a latte, but people who love them will know that you took the extra mile, the extra step to make it what they want. And I think customers can tell when you also believe in your product and
100%.
when you love what you're serving.
You can't fake passion.
No.
I can tell you right away when I walk in and meet an owner and they're like, you're here to just, increase your bottom line, or you actually love what you're doing. And like, obviously we're here to make money. That's why we do it. But at the end of the day too, you really believe in the product, the service, the whatever you're doing, and you just can't fake it. There's no way.
No. And I've worked in customer service for a long time. I've worked in restaurants for a long time. And I think there's something special about people coming in and you sharing food with them. Even if you're not like actually sharing a plate of food with them, you're sharing it with them. Course. And just kind of saying like, here, this is from me to you, with taking the transaction out of it and just sharing that little bit of joy. And I think retail is the same way with book selling and some other retail ventures, that it's when people care and when you genuinely give a fuck about what you're selling. Seriously. It comes across.
100%.
Yeah.
I know we were all over the place and we've talked about a lot today. Was there anything you were hoping you talked about, told us about? This is your chance to plug yourself. Like, don't be modest. So anything you wanted to chat through?
Oh gosh. Oh, that's so hard because I feel like I've said a lot of things and I don't even know what I haven't covered. I would say for anybody who wants to get into a business, for anybody who wants to open their own business, it's a lot of work. It's a lot, but the community, find a community that will believe in you, whether that's other business owners or your community and people who will support you, and go from there. I could talk about my mental health the whole time. That could be a whole other podcast about business owners' mental health, but take care of yourself and get time for yourself as much as you can, like whenever you can, for just to recharge.
Yeah, it's a lot. We've told business owners, listen to your body. Like they're going, 20, 22 hour days for weeks and weeks on end. It's like, you're going to make a mistake.
Yeah.
That's going to be financially could mess you up forever or completely, or too long. Or you could literally get yourself sick.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
So listen to your body. At the end of the day, the bills and the problems will be there in the morning.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It's okay to take a break.
Yeah. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. We talk about, small businesses supporting small businesses. So I always love this part of the podcast, if I remember to do it. Sorry, I don't do it all the time. I forget. But is there a business or two you think we should interview on the podcast?
Oh, that's a great question. There's so many businesses that I love so much. I know you already had Effie from Boldness at the Bun on here, and she's amazing. Visit Little Bean and visit Effie's shop. And I would say in Aniac, Family Heirloom Antiques.
Family Heirloom Antiques?
Yeah.
Okay.
Heather Fenzel and her family, her brother and her dad, run that together.
Love that.
And it's a house that they converted into an antique store.
Very cool.
It's amazing. She's my business bestie. That's what we say. I'm trying to think who else. There's so many. The girls at Stubborn Sunflower.
At where?
Chelsea and Amanda, Stubborn Sunflower.
Stubborn Sunflower.
Yeah, it's right. It's right next to the coffee shop, and they have only been open, I would say, I think 9 or 10 months.
Okay, a little newer. Okay.
But they do all kinds of stuff in there: stickers, T-shirts, like all kinds of stuff.
And kind of like boutique type shop kind of thing.
Yeah, they kind of pitch it as like Etsy in person. Like you can kind of get anything you want in there, but there's a lot of stuff in there. I know they have a lot of Jeep ducks.
Jeep ducks. 2 words. Sounds like
in there. That's hard to say.
Yeah. Say that 10 times now. Say it fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Do it, listeners. You can do it.
You guys do it. We're good.
No, we already did it. We just edited it out.
Oh yeah, yep. That's exactly what we did. So Stubborn, Sunflower, and what was the other Family
Heirloom Antiques.
Family Heirloom Antiques. I'll check them out. I appreciate the plug for them.
Yeah.
All right, I have one last question. I was considering whether I was going to ask this or not.
Ask it.
If Little Bean was closed, what coffee shop would you go to?
Where am I? Am I in Antioch?
Anywhere, whatever. It's like it doesn't have to be Antioch necessarily.
Sure. If I'm in Milwaukee, which is one of my favorite places in the whole wide world, I would go to Anodyne, which might be cheating because that's our roaster. So that's where we get our coffee.
That's your
from.
roaster? I know them.
Yeah, we get Anodyne.
Okay, very cool.
Love them. They're great.
That's cheating, by the way.
Okay, that's what I thought. But if Anodyne is also closed and I'm in Milwaukee, I would go to Stone Creek or Collectivo. If I'm in West Lafayette, where I went to school, I would go to Gray House.
Oh, okay.
And then otherwise, I like to just find little independent stores around where I'm at. If I'm traveling, I like to go to little places. Around here, I think I've only gotten nice coffee from Little Bean. I think I will.
That's fair. I don't
will
blame
use
you.
my key and just make a coffee. Like I'll just pour myself a nice coffee.
I don't blame
if
you.
we're closed.
Yeah,
but also the latte cafe is great.
Very cool. Well, Angela, I appreciate all your time today. We are a little over an hour already. I told you time was gonna fly.
Yeah, that goes fast. I can talk for a long time. I'm very chatty.
I just got started a podcast so I could hear myself talk. Is really why I did.
I think that's fine.
But why not?
Yeah.
But I appreciate you having you on. Little Bean Coffee and Little Bean Books, both here in Antioch. They're only about a block from each other. So grab a coffee and then come buy a book, or buy a book and go sit and have a coffee. Either way.
Yeah, and then read your book while you're drinking the coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm assuming both are on socials, Instagram, Facebook, all that.
Yep, we're on all the things, Instagram, Facebook. We have a TikTok, but we're
not doing any dances and
it's not doing anything yet, but I think we have some ideas.
Ooh,
so
like
that
it.
might be
Okay.
coming soon. More
As a marketing consultant, I would tell you got to embrace the TikTok.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. We'll tag and plug all those in the post when the episode does go live.
Great.
Thank you again, and especially thank you to our listeners. Support local, shop small, and until next time, goodbye for now.
Thank you so much.
And that wraps up another episode of Small Business Big Dreams. Thank you for joining us. Please support us and these incredible small businesses by sharing this podcast with friends, family, and on your social networks. Spreading the word not just helps us grow, but more importantly supports the dreams of our local entrepreneurs. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. But if you have a small business we should hear about, reach out to us on social media or our website. We'd love to hear from you. Until next week, I'm your host, Eric Bull. Keep supporting small businesses, and goodbye for now.